I'm Tim Jensen with Jensen Transport. We're here with Acuity Insurance. We're getting a 2018 award for Outstanding Fleet Safety Performance. Pretty sure you just give it out to everybody, right, Larry?
Actually, it's that puts you in the top 1% as far as having safety programs, safety awareness, and providing a safe workplace for your employees.
Top 1%. That's good. That's good. So we're not the only ones insured by you, are we?
No.
Excellent. That's even better. That's even better start. Maybe we should have asked how many were in the pool.
Oh, about 3,000.
About 3,000. Top 1%. That's very good.
And that's just in the state of Iowa.
So what do you have to do to be in the top 1%?
Loss ratio is a big part of it. The claims that you have or you don't have, that's very important part of the program. All the departments within Acuity gets a list of potential candidates for the award, and everybody has to sign off with their approval that they are deserving, dealing with everywhere from billing to claims to IT people to your friendly loss control representative. All those have to have a bearing on who gets the award or not.
So everybody gets a little bit of a buy-in on that. Then it's not just
it's not a
they're
one
the
person
favorite
decision.
person.
Right.
You know, we're just
Yeah.
going to give it to them. So
Yeah.
that's good. So what when you choose carriers to insure, how do you pick them? How do you know when say you have 5 carriers come up to you and they're all look like great carriers? They all have, I don't know, do 1 million miles a year or more. I don't know what your biggest company is, but say they do 1 million and you've never had them before. You don't really know what you probably know what their loss ratio is, or pretty good idea if they had standard insurance beforehand. But how do you decide to do that? What
Criteria we use is, number one, your agent sends an application into Acuity to the underwriter. Joe is an underwriting manager, so a person that Joe would manage, or there's several other managers as well. The underwriter looks at the available paperwork that they have, and then if they feel they need more information, they send a loss control representative out. We look at your safety program. We look at your scores in the safety measurement system that our friends at the DOT have established. See how you're scoring in their metrics as well. And then we just meet you and talk to you, because management is a very important part of the process. If you get along with people and are cooperative, things of that sort, that's a big thing that we look at, because people that are just looking for price only and say, well, we need insurance, so we pick you. If there is a claim, something down the road happens, you're probably not going to be satisfied with them if you don't go through all those processes.
So even though you work with trucking companies, tractors and trailers are involved, dispatch is involved, primarily you're picking through people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Number one, because you've got a person in the driver's seat, you got a person in the back office managing all that stuff, and you have management involved overseeing all of that stuff. So
we are in the people business. Your business happens to be transportation. It's that simple.
And
the same rules applies if you were a contractor or a manufacturer.
Good. And that dovetails right back into what we do too, because we're primarily delivering service to our customers, but at the same time we're delivering service to our drivers. Because if our drivers can't be successful, how can if you're worried about whether you have work comp insurance, or you have insurance, or your truck or trailer is not properly maintained, or people aren't checking your hours, or even if your load is actually there when you go to pick up, if somebody else hasn't snatched it or something like that, you got to be able to depend upon their back office and your management and everybody else, so that when you show up to work, you actually know that your truck trailer are going to be ready. Do your pre-trip, your truck's going to start, so you can actually go to work, make a check, and then when you do make a check, to make sure that next week, if you do have a carrier that has direct deposit, it's in your bank. It's kind of an important part of it, because if you do the work, you better make sure that you do have your check coming in there. So how has paper log and electronic log changed things for the insurance company? I mean, there are still carriers out there that are running ELD exempt paper log, stuff like that. Do you guys insure those people, or what's your comfort level with them versus somebody like us who is running electronic logs? You don't really isn't that much problems with that. What,
Joe, can you approach that from an underwriting standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, certainly ELDs are the numbers are what they are. There's no far less information that can be, I don't want to say fudged or changed, but the ELDs really give you the information as to what it is. So you get into questions about where you're going, about how long that driver's been on. The numbers are what they are. And what it really does from an insurance standpoint is it really allows us to see hard data that backs up and says our drivers don't exceed 10 hours, 14 hours, whatever the number may be. Whereas we know, obviously, with paper logs, there's a little more work involved, too, on the driver's side as well. So ELDs are certainly much preferable. It really kind of takes the guesswork out of it when we're taking a look at a carrier. Safety-wise, where are they going, those sorts of things. ELDs really tell the story without much additional information needed.
So, in the 21st century with trucking the way it is, liability the way it is, how comfortable should a driver be with a carrier that's still running paper logs in basically an ELD world? And how comfortable should they be with the carrier? Not so much with the insurance company, because you guys have liability on the line no matter what you do. Somebody paid the bill, hopefully. And your neck's extended no matter what happens. So is the carriers, though, but also so is the drivers.
Yeah, occasionally, the only time we see, for the most part, most carriers do have ELDs, whether they stay within that 100 air mile radius or not, or some of the other exemptions, because from a carrier management standpoint, if you have a problem today instead of 13 days later when the driver is required to turn in a paper log. It today, whether it's a truck issue, a driver issue, a customer service issue, it today and you can deal with it. Just like having a claim, if you turn a claim in, it happened today, our claim department can deal with it. If you don't turn it in for a month, we're starting in the hole, and it's hard to recover that lost time.
Yeah.
So from an ELD standpoint, it's a win-win for everybody.
Because if you're waiting for some driver someplace to take a picture of his paper log and send it in, and then you're actually thinking, what's the previous 7 or 8 days look like? What I mean, if you're sitting there waiting for 6 hours for somebody to send in one log,
and you're talking from a record keeping standpoint too.
You're talking from a record keeping standpoint, they may just be behind. And speaking for us in the days of the paper logs, a lot of it was drivers get busy with their part of their job, and they got to keep on top of that. Hey, I'm done here. I'll move on to the next place. I got to start my line and then leave. And then if they're, worried about the type of service they're trying to deliver, or getting their next load and getting out there on the way, or you have to stop for fuel along the way, they got to remember to stop, pull out that piece of paper, figure out where you're at. Draw your line down, do all that stuff, and it takes so much more time than just reaching up, hitting on-duty fueling, hitting okay. Then you just go, you do your thing. So, great. That's pretty good day for us here at Jensen Transport. It's not every day you get a outstanding fleet safety performance, but didn't happen in one day either.
No, it's definitely a group effort on your part. You have so many parts of your company. You have your maintenance people to keep the trucks running up and down the road. Driver looks at your website or sees some advertising. They see an award, something like that. They know that if they leave today to go make their delivery, that they're not going to be sitting on the shoulder broke down somewhere.
Right.
That is invaluable for a driver, because if the wheels aren't turning, nobody's making money.
That's right.
And to keep those tires going, I think I figured for maintenance from your standpoint, as far as violations with the DOT, I think you have a violation. The intervals between violations is like 375,000 miles for any type. That's even a light out. I mean, that's outstanding. You just can't. That's wonderful. You do a great job.
Well,
so you have
you.
maintenance, and you have
Thank
the
you.
billing. You got to get the money in. You got to get your bills paid, your drivers paid. You have the operations. You have the management. There's so many parts of your company that have to come together and work together to receive something like this, and it's well deserved.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it, and really, the award, it does say presented to Jensen Transport on it, but I'm not the one driving the truck every day. It's our drivers. They're the ones out there. They're the ones doing a lot of safety checks for the pre-trips. They're the ones being safe when they're driving on the road. They're the ones, avoiding certain areas where they know they're going to have a problem, just in terms of traffic flow, accidents upcoming, a lot of that stuff. We have some pretty good drivers here that if they see something on the road, they call in and say, hey, if you're heading up this way into Wisconsin or wherever else, there's an accident up here, there's a detour up here, or even like right now, there's some bridges closed south of Davenport down there. They're already calling in and saying, hey, that's not such a great way to go. So, and that, I think a lot of that, I think you'd agree 50% of the problem is you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, whether you're at fault or not. So, if you can, help leverage your own drivers and have them have some feedback into the process, how to be successful, how to do those things, and where do you need to be to get there. It cuts down on how many wasted hours or miles that they're doing to do their job, cuts down on the ability to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's a great thing, I think. Great, Larry. Well, I appreciate you coming up and deliver an award for us. And I think for us, Acuity is a great partner for us. They're very into communication. They're always reachable, even if you have to leave a message. I mean, usually you're driving, you always call. I'm pretty sure I call, leave a message, you pull over and call me back, because that's usually what I know when I call you on the phone, that it's always going to be, I need to leave voicemail, and that's not a big problem for me. But I know you're always going to get back to me, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate everything that Acuity has done for us. And we've actually used some of your handouts, things like that, to make our safety programs that we already have, even better than they are. So it's always good to have a different perspective of someone that uses it every day in the industry. Right. Thank you very much, Larry, and thank you for coming up. I appreciate your time.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.